could truly spend a long time just celebrating the playing career of Ron Francis. His accolades speak for themselves. You see him in the whale jersey there. Hugh Brass Bonanza. What was it like to be drafted 4th overall and play for a franchise that no longer exists as it did back then?
You know, it was actually incredible for me. At the draft, it wasn't supposed to go that way. I think they were planning on taking Bobby Carpenter 4th, and I was going to go to Washington 5th. And Washington made a trade to sort of get in front of Hartford, and they took Bobby Carpenter, and Hartford was left with me. And I remember Billy Scout. He was really excited to have me at the table, and couldn't have worked out better for me. Really enjoyed my Hartford. Great city, great people. Still have a lot of friends from my time there, and actually met my wife there as well, and had our first child there.
Yeah, Hartford worked out really well. You did well. The team was good, but let's be honest. Your landing spot in Pittsburgh, your next spot, was pretty good as well. When you got traded there, do you think, this might be a pretty good fit for me with that collection of Hall of Fame talent you were surrounded with?
Yeah, I remember the first day getting in there, and Bob Johnson pulled me aside, wanted to have a meeting with me in his office. So I walked in, he sat me down, he said, not sure if you've heard yet or not, but we have this kid here. He's not too bad. His name's Mario Lemieux. I said, yeah. He said, he's going to be our number one centerman. I said, yeah. He said, that doesn't mean you can't help us. I said, I got it, Bob. I said, I'm here to help us win. Let's go win. And 3 games, and all Samuelson and I went for dinner after the 3rd game. We sat there and looked at each other, and we said, you know what, this team will up to be a championship team. If we get the bounces and breaks, we had a chance. And fortunately, 3 months later, we were hoisting the cup. So just an incredible experience.
And Ron, you have been a prolific offensive player your entire career, one of the all-time greatest point producers in NHL history, and yet we saw that you won a Selke. Where did that because a lot of guys in that era who were great offensively were not necessarily so dialed in defensively like they are now. Where did that come from?
I think it was probably just my upbringing, the way my dad taught me about the game. It was always just as important to get an assist as it was a goal. It was just as important to make a defensive play as it was to, make an offensive play. And for me and my makeup, I always took a lot of pride. A lot of nights I would get the other team's best centerman as my matchup, and I took a lot of pride in trying to shut them down. So I think it just sort of evolved over my career.
In terms of your approach to the game and the type of player you were, how much does that benefit you when you're evaluating players because you were so elite?
Well, I don't know. I think when I look at my own game, I think you can talk to a lot of people. They will tell you that I was not the fastest player. I probably wasn't the strongest player. I think I thought the game very well, and I think that was sort of allowed me to sort of compensate for areas of my game. But I think, when I look at players, that's what I'm looking for. Obviously you're looking for hockey sense in guys, but it doesn't mean if a guy doesn't have a certain level of skating or skill set that he can't be a valuable member of your team. And when you play on championship teams, you learn that it takes everybody. Everybody has a role. Everybody makes a contribution, and it's at some point we maybe least expect it. But there's all kinds of players that you need to make up a successful team, and I think that sort of helped me over my question in management for sure.
Ron, one of the other standouts of your career was your consistency. And I always found as a player, it's one of the hardest things to do is just kind of be year in, year out, game in, game out, kind of the same. Now, your same was better than most people's same, but just finding that level, how much of that was work and how much of that was just your talent?
I'd like to think more of it was work than talent. It's not easy to sort of be at your best every night. My goal going into a season was always to play 70 to 75 really good games if I could, and the other 7 that I didn't have it or so, try and make sure that I was solid defensively and not hurt the team. I'm competitive by nature. I may not come across that way when you talk with me, but secretly very competitive. So I like competing and didn't want to lose. And, I always went into games looking at there might be somebody in the building that's never seen me play that night, and I had a chance to maybe get a new fan, even if it's on the road. So I wanted to sort of be at my best every time I stepped on the ice.
You earned a lot of fans with the way you played, and we are certain that Seattle is going to enjoy the team that you put together. Thanks so much for joining us, Ron.
My pleasure, guys, and stay safe.